Hello everyone and welcome back to a semi-regular episode of Walford Weekly, because we were on holiday last week. We thought we'd do a quick little short show. We'll be back to normal this week, is what we thought. But a lot can change in a week. Sorry.
I'm talking in Animal Crossing. Sorry, I thought I'd quickly make the subject a bit more joyful and exciting. Because a lot has changed in the week, as probably all of you know, so we won't repeat it. COVID-19 has pretty much taken over the world, and now EastEnders and many other TV programmes.
And but mainly EastEnders.
But for this podcast, mainly EastEnders. And so because of that, we're going to be doing shorter episodes because there's only 2 episodes a week, but we still be weekly.
Yes, you can't stretch EastEnders out that much.
We try. We really try. But it's only so paper thin it can go.
No. So it's all changed. For everyone who doesn't know, it's now going to air on a Monday, Tuesday.
Which is wrong.
That's what we currently know. It might change.
It should be a Tuesday and Thursday, like the good old days, in my opinion, because that's when it used to be broadcast.
I know, it would have made so much sense.
What
and they could have They could have pulled on people's heartstrings of classic days when it used to be Tuesday, Thursday. But no, they're doing Monday, Tuesday, which is really stupid.
It doesn't make any sense, and it leaves such a long gap between each episode. But don't worry, because we'll be filling that gap for you. We'll be talking about our favourite moments in those 2 episodes every week.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye out on our Twitter, our Facebook group and our Instagram, where we'll be telling you when we're going to start to release the episodes, because we've not made a decision just yet exactly when we'll be releasing each
make sure you
episode.
Subscribe.
Yes, don't forget to subscribe.
No.
And follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Walford Weekly, or search for us on Facebook.
But it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because obviously weeks are now going to be split in half. So if the more it happens, the more back in time we're going to be on EastEnders. So there's going to be, like, they've just done St. Patrick's Day this week. But there'll be things like there's like the VD Day, which some soaps are going to include. So when are they going to...
VD Day?
Is it VD
Valentine's Day?
No.
VE Day?
VE?
VD Day? Venereal disease?
75th year or something, isn't it? Or something?
It's probably victory in Europe, the Second World War.
That's going to be
VD Day?
I don't know what it is.
You should know.
Why?
My goodness. The elderly will be turning in their pensioners' chairs.
Don't mention the elderly.
Oh no, yes, no.
The virus. But so, like, you know, like topical events, like, it's going to be really weird how it's all going to be behind. I don't know how, when this is all over, how are they going to get back to the right day? Like, do you know what I mean? Will the characters be in isolation and their storylines will pause and then they'll just jump to September? Like, do you know what I mean?
I mean, they did jump when they did Boat Week, and all of a sudden 2 weeks had passed, and
but
Callum was still missing.
And like 4 months is a big difference.
It's a huge jump. I mean, do you reckon they'll do like a this happened in the interim kind of episode? So they kind of do a quick, but then they'll go through.
They still have to film things, yeah.
But, I mean, they don't even have the luxury of like filling in like seasonal scenes, like doing little topical scenes in between, because there is no filming going on at all. They're not doing any filming at all, so they can't, like for the World Cup or for the Queen's Jubilee or something like that, they put little, scenes added that they filmed that day. They can't even do that, so they can't even reference the COVID-19.
Very odd. I mean, the writers and that are still working because they can work from home. So this gives the writers a chance. They could do like a big mystery, like what's happened in these months we've missed, and then we could have actual flashbacks which have a purpose, not the bad flashbacks, but if they want to include flashbacks, that's the way to do it.
But it makes better sense because there would have been such a long gap this time, so it makes sense to actually have the flashbacks. I saw someone online mention that they should bring back the EastEnders official BBC podcast, and they could film episodes orderly, and they could just get the cast to do it over Skype to one another.
No, that's...
I quite like that idea, like an Archers. It'd be like the Archers.
That'd be awful.
For EastEnders.
No.
But then we can have the lovely kissing scenes where it sounds like they're sucking each other's faces off.
That's true. I mean, luckily, there's no huge storylines at the moment. So luckily,
a big Dennis's death.
Dennis's funeral's going to be cancelled. Yeah. 2 people can only attend.
No, you can only have up to 5, can't you? The Church of England will not allow more than 5 at a funeral.
That's all right, because Sharon's going to ban most of them anyway.
She's peed off with them all.
So it will be interesting to see how this plays out, and most interesting when this is over, how they manage it. But we can only speculate at moments. But we're going to talk about half weeks as if they're full weeks for now.
Yes. So we're actually not going to include... Are you including the dates as well now? Or are you just
Yes, these were aired between the 16th and 17th of March.
It makes no sense. 2 episodes. I don't like it. It makes no sense.
That's what it is. There is a few storylines, luckily. It's not like 2 storylines. So we're going to go through them. We're going to start with Keegan's storyline. So he wants a loan at the bank.
Yep, but the bank doesn't want to give him a loan, and so he's straight away jumping onto the defensive again, believing that it's his race that's basically his hurdle, his biggest obstacle.
It's a shame they didn't show us the bank meeting. Because I don't get why. I mean, is it literally just down to it's a crappy sandwich business and that's actually the reason Keegan?
Well, again,
because Ikra was with him, and Ikra's
very business savvy. She has a degree in business.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know if it, like with banks, it's not like nowadays. It's more of like an algorithm yes no, isn't it? I think
so. Yeah, it's almost like you just answer the questions, they put it in the computer, and to paraphrase David Williams, computer says no or yes.
That's what I thought. So it's all, I don't know. It's a bit odd how they're making, because last week or whatever week, I can't remember, Keegan was having a go at the NHS staff, saying it was racist, and it was a bit like, I don't know, is it? I don't quite see it. And again with the bank loan, I don't quite see it. Is it because he had a black eye and maybe they weren't taking him seriously?
That's true. Really he had the fight, didn't he? I mean,
but they didn't show us the meeting, which is like quite pinnacle.
Yeah, so we could make a choice of whether Keegan had overreacted or not. I mean, I think you're meant to be led to believe that Keegan is spiraling down a path where he's
seeing it all the time.
He's seeing it all the time, and it seems to be picking on him. I mean, he's certainly being singled out by the police a lot. You know, he's been
that's not a question. Yeah,
arrested a lot, and you know, he's kind of just linking it all between that. I mean, I'm guessing this is going down an extremist route at some point.
Well, there's something that happens at Panesar party, which
Panesar party. That's great.
Spoilers, I don't know when it's going to air, but there is a Panesar party soonish.
The PP.
Where I can't wait for that episode.
Bring the vino. They won't have any.
They really can go off air if they're going to do that. But there's something happens with Keegan there. So yeah, they are going down some sort of route, and he's kind of, the anger from old Keegan's kind of showing itself again. Because remember when Keegan was first in it, he was an angry young man, wasn't he?
He really was. I think, but then that's when he felt like he wasn't he's being listened, exactly. So it's a kind of similar situation again. So the young Keegan's erupting again. There was a good scene with him and Denise. They've pretty much swept under the carpet their feud. They had a feud.
Punchgate.
Yeah, Punchgate.
Flowergate.
When she smacked him in the face for kicking her flowers up.
And yeah, it was a nice scene. And Denise is really good at those scenes. It's nice that
she's
they're
had
finally...
a lot of them.
Oh, yeah. She's got lots of advice.
Denise has just been dishing out the advice left, right and centre these past 2 weeks.
Which we're here for. We like it.
Yeah,
we enjoy it. She's good at advice.
She is.
And it's nice that she was able to talk to him. And it was interesting how he mentioned, because he grew up in a mixed household, and obviously his dad wasn't around for him, and Chantelle was kind of off quite young with Gray. We kind of led to believe. So he only grew up with Bernadette and Keanu and Chatham and Riley and Karen. So he never really questioned or talked about the colour of his skin.
No.
They didn't either. And that's quite a common thing, because I know families that I've known and they've adopted, and even like simple things like going to a hairdresser, like they take their kids to a hairdresser that doesn't do afro hair.
Doesn't know how to
and they don't realise that there's a difference. So it is a thing that does happen with families. And I thought that was interesting.
He also brought up how Bernie used to be like constantly like attached to him, and then when they got older, Bernie was getting bullied because of them being a mixed race family. And I thought that was interesting that, you know, again in this modern society that's still seen as a kind of a taboo thing. It's a shame also that Keegan's now having or feeling that he has to kind of bring Bailey down along with him, because he now thinks that he needs to warn Bailey early, because he was never given a warning when he was younger that, you know, society will never accept them the same way.
Yeah, because she's like doing a school project, and he's mad at Mitch because he doesn't think because Mitch didn't warn Keegan about it. He's kind of like, well, you should be warning Bailey. But it's really sad that that's how he feels Bailey, who's 10, 11, she's not that old, is she?
Yeah.
And that, like, she needs that in her life, and that's still going to be an issue when she's older. Like, you'd hope like it would be gone by then, but I guess obviously that's the point of this storyline, is that Patrick had it, Denise had it, Mitch had it, Keegan had it, and now he's worried that the same thing's going to happen to Bailey.
It's gone down in generations, and where we're meant to be living in a much more open society, it's not as open as we once believed, and people are still getting singled out just by the colour of their skin. I mean, I think Mitch did turn on to the idea eventually, because when Keegan first started saying it to him, he was saying, well, she's very young, she doesn't really need to know this about the world. But Bailey is quite old before her years, isn't she? So I think it's something that perhaps, I think something that they'll be surprised that Bailey may kind of look up and say, I know, but I know I have
that
to
would
fight.
be good. I thought that, because she's always written as this old lady in a young body. So I'd be surprised if she wasn't aware of that side of things. But I mean, obviously Mitch has been in the hospital. He said, just ignore it, it is what it is. He's been saying that quite a lot, that they've been showing. And then this week, obviously, Keegan must have said something to him, and he questioned Mick, how Mick looks at him and looks down to him and things.
He thought that Mick was talking down to him when he said, nice to be you, having to get to drink during the day. And
coming from him who creates gin. I mean, it's all a bit as well, when we were introduced to Mitch, he was such a deadbeat guy, and it's really funny how they're trying to make us see him not as that anymore, and it's that his character's a right deadbeat.
Well, he is a deadbeat, but he's trying to turn himself around. He's made this is his last chance in his mind, and he to be fair to him, the character has become much more favourable in my eyes. He's still not one that I particularly root for but he's lucky that he's got such a great family around him. I love Keegan, I love Bailey, I love Karen. They're all characters that I root for. I do like Bernie, but you don't see her anymore. She's always got an excuse why she's not turning up for family gatherings. Bernie's doing this or Bernie's doing that, and she's never has a reason. She's off to play at McClunkey's or something.
But there was an interesting line that Mitch said to him. He said to Mick that I could do your job any day. And obviously Mick's been blabbing on about selling the Vic.
Yes, and we're pretty much sure that they're having new owners at the Vic soon.
So could Mitch run the Vic?
He's got the money. He's kept the money that he's meant to be paying Patrick back off.
Yeah, that money doesn't exist. But he can't run it with Karen because they're not actually together. I always forget they're not together. See, it's all a bit odd, Mitch. He lives in her house, kind of, but also lives downstairs. He cooks and eats up there.
He lives with Karen, doesn't he?
No, he lives downstairs with Bailey. Oh no, Tiff lives there, doesn't she?
Tiff.
He does live there. Yes, it's all a bit strange. And Billy lives there. And
Billy lives there.
Well, he's there quite a lot.
He's with Karen, isn't he? Of course.
So it's all very odd, but yeah, it was a good storyline. But we've only seen half of it.
I was going to say there's still another half to go, as is the nature of the way that the show's being broadcast at the moment.
So shall we move on to the next one, which is Gray, Chantelle, Whitney. She's not eating still. She has passed out now.
She had a little mini concert with her younger self.
She did.
She sang Atomic Kitten songs
again.
Can anyone get in touch with us if anyone else has been listening to more Atomic Kitten songs on their Spotify this week, because I have to shamefully say that my Spotify has had a few Atomic Kittens played.
Well, that'll be good. They'll appreciate the money.
2p. Especially Kerry Katona with her Northern Mansion.
Because Whitney is in hospital. She's on a drip. They're kind of force feeding her, and giving her soup, but not really making her eat it.
Well, the first shot was of the tray of food on the hospital ward next to her, and she was still refusing to eat from it.
She was. But Gray was there. He's wants to prove that he's a good guy to the community of Walford.
Well, everyone loves him in Walford.
Yeah.
Because no one knows what happened behind the closed doors when he went into the pub to have a celebratory party last week. But so the only person who isn't Gray's number one fan is Chantelle at the moment, and quite rightly so, because she's been quite badly bruised, and you saw the bruises this week as well when she was bandaging herself up.
Yeah, because she's starting work at the call centre. We didn't see the call centre though. I was waiting to see it, to see just Chantelle sitting
one phone,
amongst 20 desks, and just Chantelle in there with one phone,
a fold-away chair, a little picnic table, and her with one phone in front of her.
And Keegan probably has his own office, just watching, doing nothing
through the blinds. Just kind of every now and then you see them twitching.
But so she's working there. I'm guessing maybe one of the Panasars is going to be the first to notice something going on, because they've got Gray's number, haven't they? They keep noticing things about Gray.
Well, Kira, I presume, will be the one, because he's very interested in Gray after he saw Gray swap the names over in the Ball and Change.
Oh yeah, of course.
And now he's quite interested in Chantelle, and I think he's more interested in Chantelle through the romance route.
Oh
yeah,
very saucy.
Well, they're friends from school, aren't they?
No, that was Jags.
Yeah, but I'm sure that Kira must have known.
Oh yeah, probably
Chantelle indirectly. If,
saw her downstairs at the house.
Yeah, and she went round to play with Jags and his Barbie dolls or something.
What else happened? Oh, Gray eventually thought, I need to get some evidence. So he had a little search around Whitney's room, and he found the peephole within seconds. Well, Whitney, who's been lying underneath it for weeks.
Literally sleeping night after night after night underneath that peephole. Saw
with
nothing.
Him walking around upstairs. No one heard. But Gray, he's on there. We saw the bad paint job up the on that compass and saw
Yes.
a big hole.
I'm still trying to work out if the fact that the eye hole was it in northeast, whether that was a clue for something. Am I alone on this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I just
I'm trying
feel
to
like
work out
that was a
what
clue
could be, I don't
somewhere.
know.
Like it's going to somewhere reference. Do you
Like
not?
Who Shot Mr. Burns?
Yeah.
No, I think that's it now.
Maggie Simpson was MS, wasn't it? So NE. Any characters NE?
No.
Past or present? If you guys can think of any past and present characters NE, let us know.
So yeah, Gray's like Mr. Walford, isn't he? He's like the be all and end all. Sonia's happy with him again. Mm-hmm. She stopped shouting at him, and that's it really. I don't know. Like we've only seen half the story again.
Well, he's got compelling evidence, and not only is the square.
Oh yeah, because he tells Whitney, and that cheers her up a little bit.
Yeah, so she thinks. I think this is leading to her basically getting her hopes up, and then them saying, "Oh, it's inconsequential evidence. You can't prove anything." Again, we saying that Whitney didn't spot the peephole. The police didn't spot the peephole. Did they not think of looking in the attic?
And there was must have been something like waste products up there because there was like evidence to say how long he'd been up there.
Oh,
so no one could smell this. No one.
Jars of urine.
There's all sorts going
feces, possibly vomit, old food bags.
Yeah, so I don't know how much longer this prison thing is going to go on for, but hopefully.
I'm thinking it's shorter. Yeah, I think it's shorter than we thought it was going to be.
But they've built a prison set, but they're not using the prison set.
Not really built with full. They like
one cell and a hallway.
Yeah, exactly.
And one guard.
Exactly. I mean, when they did Mick, they were using like a school cafeteria in some scenes when he was like stealing baked bean tin lids and all kinds of stuff.
Again, we don't reference that.
All
prison things are just don't reference.
Well, prison's never been the strong suit for EastEnders.
No,
even when
they keep trying.
Even Dirty Den particularly wasn't the best. Was it when they were at Dickens Hill?
God, no.
They were even very weak scenes. So
they should have had someone in prison who Whitney, or like an old character in the prison or something, like anyone. Chrissy, someone we don't know who's in prison.
Cindy Bill.
Cindy.
She's not dead in my eyes.
Or
I know
Cindy
everyone's saying
Jr. Like.
Oh no, I love Cindy Jr.
Yeah, it's just someone in prison. It would have been interesting.
Cora.
Yeah,
I can imagine Cora being back in prison.
Kim.
Yeah, Kim could have been there. Who knows?
But no, hopefully Whitney will start eating again now. And
own good.
I don't know if her hair loss has stopped. They've not really shown that.
No, they've not really said anything about that. I mean,
she's
not
got so
eating,
many things going on with her, isn't she, Whitney?
Yeah, she's alopecia, starvation.
Right, so the third storyline, Ben and Callum, had a mini one. They were just being a supportive couple, really, this week.
Well, no, Ben wasn't. Callum was.
No.
Ben was basically trying to show that he was okay in front of Danny Hardcastle.
Oh,
he
God.
returned.
Yeah.
There you go. Danny Hardcastle's back. You wanted a returning character.
Why is he back, though?
Because he's
it's
mischievous.
Been 8 months since we last saw him. We all thought he'd just been written out and quietly forgotten, like Aiden and all the weird, hard gangster men always do.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he's back. It's just ridiculous. And they're acting like they're mates. Like he's like, "Oh, I've got a deal for you, Ben. We can cash in here." It's like the last time we saw him, he kidnapped Louise and Keanu, was going to kill them in a container, and it was all weird.
Yeah, it's like
because that was when Ben hit Phil in the back of the head with a brick, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, so he didn't find out that it was him that made the deal and helped Danny Hardcastle, caused Danny Hardcastle to do basically the abduction.
So once again, I have zero interest in this storyline, like a lot of storylines at the moment, because I just have zero interest in Danny Hardcastle and these weird deals. We don't really know what the deal is. Apparently it's a good deal, but Ben can't hear, so we also don't really hear.
Well, yeah, exactly, because every time Danny talks, the distortion audio starts. So we don't know what the deal is either. All we know is that Callum and Sharon and Kathy are all knowing that he's a dodgy guy and he's not someone you should mess with, especially when he brought up Phil and Sharon came over and was like, "Don't you talk about that man in this place again."
Yeah, Sharon and Kathy both know about Danny Hardcastle because that was when Sharon announced to the world that Louise had been kidnapped.
Oh,
remember?
yeah, during the dinner, the family dinner.
When Phil kept saying to her, "Don't tell one person," and she told everyone. So they all know Danny Hardcastle and the human trafficking and all sorts. So,
but all Sharon seemed concerned about was the fact that he mentioned Phil, and she was just like, "Don't you ever talk about him."
Trash, all of them.
Yeah, sickos.
So I don't know what this deal is. Something about cars, probably, I imagine. Normally it's about cars.
It's either going to be stealing cars, or I don't think they'll touch human trafficking again, because that was pretty low when they did it the last time.
And obviously Ben's pretending he knows what the deal is, but he can't hear. So Danny's kind of getting a bit like annoyed that he's replying the wrong reply.
But he's just saying yes, isn't he? He's like, and he's like, yes.
I know how it feels. That's what I used to do when I used to do hairdressing. When I used to be blow drying people's hair, can't hear a word.
Yeah.
It's safe to go, yeah.
Yeah, you just laugh. You do a little laugh and go,
laugh and
yeah.
say yes or no and just see what they're...
But it's really uncomfortable when they go, well, what do you mean? And you're like, what you just said, yeah.
My husband's just died. Really? Yeah. So I do know what Ben's going through. Kind of, but not really. But I do know what it's like.
To not hear people
just reply random replies.
If only you learned sign language. You can do it with one hand while they're blowing up his hair.
But yeah, interesting to know what this deal is. Probably just dodgy MOTs. But
maybe.
I'm not here for Danny Hardcastle, I'm afraid.
No, I think he's just a stopgap for why Steve McFadden has an extended break.
Yeah.
But Callum is all about safety for Ben, and he's saying to Ben, let's stop this. Let's not do anything with this guy. You know he's a bit dodgy. And Ben just basically exclaims that, I don't want you changing me, Callum. The one thing that Ben has said on numerous occasions he wants to do for Callum.
Going around in circles again.
It really is. Why can't they just have a nice story where you're learning the relationship of Ben and Callum?
Well, I quite enjoyed the bit in the hospital and Callum was just comforting him and he was trying to talk to him and
he found out he's getting his transplant.
Yeah, in 4 weeks. Now to be 8 weeks.
He won't be getting it at all. only very desperate surgery is needed now.
So I liked those scenes, and then Danny Hardcastle was just again, it's the two. Ben being two characters, they've added this stupid Danny Hardcastle thing, which no one wants or needs.
He's the Mitchell,
just
Jekyll
have
and Hyde.
Ben and Callum trying to deal with this hearing problem.
Yes,
that'd be much more sweeter.
I agree. Why does it have to be gangster involved every time? Why is a Mitchell story can't go a day without being gangster involved?
Especially at the same time. Just let him have this hearing storyline.
Yeah.
And have Callum trying to learn sign language, and maybe Ben feels silly doing it. There's be so much more to learn, but now we've got this mixed in. I don't care.
No, I agree. You slammed your pencil on the table. Pencil was slammed, listeners. The pencil was slammed.
It was. Right, so we're going to go into our mid-break with our one game for our MIDI. And then we'll be back to round up the rest of the half the week.
See if you can tell.
A quarter.
Yeah. See if you can tell if Ben enjoyed the game or not. Oh, it feels like forever we've played this game. It's a game that I know you love deep down inside, but you pretend to hate.
And which one?
Most of my games. And it's not the Phil Mitchell combination lock game either. Although we had a lot of people saying how much they enjoyed watching you fluster.
Did we?
Trying to work out that number. Yeah, we did. We got a few comments from people. So it may well return in earnest. However, today we're going to be playing Doc Cotton's Connection game.
Oh, for God's sake.
So I will give you 3 clues and you must find the sequence and the final 4th clue. And the less number of clues you use, the more points you'll get. So 4 points for just using 1 clue, 2 for 2 clues, and 1 point for using all 3 clues. And you get an extra point, as I say, if you guess what the 4th thing is of the sequence. So not only guessing what the sequence is, but what the 4th of the sequence would be. Mm-hmm. And as always, there's 4 different questions, and I give you the choice of which one you want to start with: 1, 2, 3, or 4.
So the rules are like the game show Only Connect for people to understand.
Well, we've played this twice now, so I hope that listeners at home understand the game. Just listen, you do, and join in if you know the answers, and let us know if you get them before Ben. So, question 1, 2, 3, or 4. Do you want to do them in order? Start at number 1?
1.
Okay, so here's clue number 1 of question 1: Italy. That's it.
Right. So this is probably places they filmed abroad in order, I'm assuming.
Right. Do you want to hazard a guess?
So I have to guess the 4th one.
Yeah, and what the connection is.
I just said what the connection is.
Well, that's wrong.
Oh.
Would you like a second clue? The second link to the connection?
Okay.
So first was Italy. The second is Walford, England.
Next clue.
So first Italy, second Walford, England, third Auckland, New Zealand.
I don't know. Peep Bill's girlfriends, where they're from.
No. But you're on the right track. It's a character. Think of what character may have
lived in Italy.
Yeah, may have ended up living in these places at some point.
Diane Butcher.
No.
I don't know.
No, because Diane Butcher lived
she
in
went
Paris,
to France. Yeah, I know. I thought you might have got it wrong. I don't know.
Well, I'll give you the final. So the final connection would be, the 4th clue would be Walford, England. So that would be the one.
Italy, Walford. What was it?
So Italy, Walford, England.
New Zealand.
Auckland, New Zealand. Walford, England.
Don't know.
You're giving up.
Well, what characters from Italy?
But it doesn't mean
Beppe.
they're from Italy. It just means that they lived in Italy. The most recent would be that they came to Walford, England.
No idea. Beppe.
No. Okay, so the connection of all 4 clues is it's where Stephen Bill had lived, starting from when he was kidnapped by Cindy. So when she kidnapped him, she took him from Ian. She ran away to Italy.
What, with Simon? Or is this later on?
No, this is later on. This is when she was with David.
Right.
So she'd had Stephen and Peter and Lucy. Mm-hmm. And she was only able to take Stephen and Peter with her. Lucy stayed at home to Italy. Yes. Then Ian found them and brought them back to England, Walford. And then Stephen left when he found out he wasn't Ian's son. And so he went to New Zealand and then he came back. And this is when he kidnapped Ian.
He died.
No.
Oh.
This is when he kidnapped Ian and he took them to an abandoned warehouse, of course.
And shot Jane.
And yeah. So that's fun, isn't it?
No.
So that's the first connection game. So do you get the game now?
Yeah.
Okay, question 2, 3 or 4?
2.
Okay, so clue 1, Jamie, 25th of December 2002.
Right, people Sonia's married?
Ooh.
Or with?
You're on the right track. You're thinking of the right Jamie. That's a good hint from me.
Obviously. Jamie with who got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Martin killed him.
Mm. But that's
people that Martin's run over? No.
No. Although that would be a good one.
Sonia's partners?
No.
Oh.
Do you want a second clue?
Yeah.
Archie, 25th of December 2009.
Abby Branning?
No.
Who would have died in December?
You're
for a Christmas
on the right track,
line?
so you know the Jamie. It's
Dennis Rickman.
No. Do you want the third clue?
Yeah.
Peggy, 17th of May 2016.
Right, so Mitchells that have died.
Yes.
So Ron. Oh no, wait.
So who would be next then? So there was Jamie.
Roxy.
25th of December, yep.
Roxy.
So your answer is Roxy.
She died first out of Ronnie and Roxy.
That's correct. There you go. So first was Jamie on 25th of December, Jamie Mitchell. Second was Archie Mitchell, 25th of December, killed by Stacey. Peggy Mitchell died by overdosing by Pat Butcher smoke, 17th of May 2016, and then it was Roxy the 1st of January 2017. You are right, Roxy was the first to die, but technically also Ronnie was a Branning at that point, so wouldn't be a Mitchell. So that's why Roxy would be the fourth answer.
No wonder she died. Being married to Jack.
1 point for using 3 clues and 1 point for getting the connection.
Good.
So 2 points. Well done. 3 or 4. Question 3 or 4.
3.
Pearl Chadwick, grandmother of Kofi Tavernier.
Right, this is ones that the woman who plays Claudette has played. Characters she's played. I'm guessing.
Right. I think you've just
So
given
it
me the
has to be
answer.
Claudette
Claudette
Hubbard.
Yep. Who is the
Mum of Vincent.
and
And that's it.
well, and she adopted, so she was the mum of
Adopted Donna.
yes, Robbie's girlfriend, Donna Kebab.
Ex.
So, wait, you only needed 1 clue. 4 points for 1 clue and 1 extra point for getting the connection. Let me just go through them. So Pearl Chadwick was clue 1, grandmother of Kofi Tavernier. Clue 2 was Estella Holton, mother of Precious Hudson. Clue 3 was Grace Olabami, who's the grandmother of Mercy and Faith. And 4 would be the answer, which is Claudette Hubbard, who is the mother of Vincent and Donna. And the connection was they're all characters played by Ellen Thomas in EastEnders. Ellen Thomas has played 4 different characters in EastEnders.
Of course. Bring her back.
Bring back Claudette. She
Bring back any of them.
She came back from the dead. She's another one who came back from the dead.
In the same episode.
So do you want the last question? Question 4.
Yeah, if I have to.
Right, so the final one. Ready? Gumbo.
Why does Gumbo mean something to me? Gumbo. That's the second clue.
Tramp.
Oh, these are the name of dogs.
Ooh.
Because Tramp is a Miller dog.
It wasn't a Miller dog.
It was.
You should know who had Tramp as a dog. She's your favourite character that you feel went before her time. She killed Tramp by running her over.
Oh, Abby.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got the connection. They're the 4 most current dogs that have starred in the soap.
Okay, so it would be Bronson.
You're correct, but I've messed up. So it's yes. So Bronson is the 4th clue. I had Gumbo, Tramp, Lady Di, and then Wellard 2. Wellard 2 was the answer, but actually yes, you're quite right. Bronson was the most current dog.
Wellard 2 came in after the Carters.
Yes.
Well, who had him? That's
Robbie.
Weird. Really?
He got Wellard 2. Robbie
I
Jackson.
thought it was ages ago, Wellard 2.
Wellard 2 was 2016. Lady Di was 2013. Tramp was 2013. And Gumbo was 2009.
Bronson was 2017.
Bronson was after Wellard 2. So you're right. So I'm going to give you a super bonus point for that one as well. So you did quite well there.
How many did I get?
Well, I'm just working it out. So you didn't get any on the first one.
I got 2.
You got 2 in the second one. You got 5 in the third one. So that's
5
7.
again. Plus a bonus.
And you got 5 again. So 7.
Plus a bonus.
No, 5 is with the bonus.
No, you said a super bonus.
You got 5. You get an extra point as a bonus. So you got 5, so you got 12 points.
For correcting your incorrect answers.
For correcting my own game.
Right. There you go.
Well done. How do you
what
feel?
do I win? A Queen Vic bust.
You win the anecdote to
Miss Walford.
You win Miss Walford. Do you want to take Miss Walford home with you? You take Mr. Walford home with you.
No, I want to be Miss Walford.
Oh, okay. I can buy you a crown. You'll be all right.
Good.
But there you go. So that was Dot Cotton's Connection game, a game that yet again Ben corrected me on being wrong on. So if you guys have any games that you want us to play, get in touch. You know the usual score. All the details will be at the end of the podcast later.
Right, so Isaac was back after being missing since Boat Week, kind of.
No, he wasn't. He was in last week, wasn't he? With the air hockey.
Oh yeah, but not like it's so
air hockey.
I know that's like a new group of friends, isn't it? Isaac, Jack, Max.
They're constantly
Patrick.
arranging group outings together, aren't they? They're like old women organising the bingo night.
It's funny that Cush and Martin aren't being palled up with Isaac. They're more the same age range than the oldies. Jack and Max.
Max is an oldie
Max
now.
is an oldie. So yeah, I'd hate to go out with any of them. But Isaac's like drinking a lot, even though he's a teacher. Jack doesn't approve.
No, because he's a teacher and he should stay 100% sober for his job.
Yeah, because Jack was like saying, I'm on work tomorrow, I'm sober. It's like, Jack, you leak information to anyone who asks. So I wouldn't be talking to you.
It doesn't take a drink for you to basically be a bad cop.
And Isaac's still being really off with Patrick. So Patrick, doesn't like Cherie say something about some music or some funeral?
Cherie is massaging Patrick's head.
Oh yeah, Patty.
His head on his shoulders. And their song comes on his record player. He sold his records, but this one record he kept.
Oh yeah, Mitch stole them, didn't he? Or whatever.
No, Patrick sold them because he found out how much they were worth, and then they bought the hair salon.
Oh yeah, but that's after Mitch stole them, trying to get the money for himself, but then didn't or something, wasn't it?
The good old days.
Yeah.
No, he stole. That's right. He stole them
because he knew how much they were worth, and Patrick thought they were.
But then someone told him how much he's worth. Then he felt guilty. Told Patrick. Patrick then sold the record so that Denise could then buy the hair salon.
That's right. 2019, everyone.
Talking about stories like that just makes you feel warm inside, doesn't it? And it's not just coronavirus. So Patrick remembers that's the song that was at Isaac's dad's funeral.
Yeah, so he uses that as a way to bond with Isaac, because Isaac's he's really hates Patrick, doesn't he? It doesn't really make sense.
Because he hates any man who basically takes his mum away from him, because he thinks that no man is as good as what his father
replace
is.
His dad, yeah.
So Patrick puts on the song, says, let's toast to your dad. I'm not trying to replace him. I just love your mum. And that was all Isaac needed to respect Patrick. And now they are BFFs forever.
Kind of. Until next week, probably. But again, it's my issue with the storyline, because I have an issue with every storyline or character, is that it's a professional male in a well-paid job. So what is he? He's aggressive and semi-alcoholic.
And has a bit of a dark undertone story.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
Why? And is he an alcoholic? Are they doing another alcoholic on the show?
I don't think he's an alcoholic. I just think he just
Jack kept looking
drowned
at him when he was drinking, didn't he?
Yeah, but Jack suspects everyone. No one in Jack's book is a normal citizen who can be upstanding. And the only person who can be that is Jack in Jack's world.
Or Sonia.
Well, Sonia has her faults. She has stolen money from Doc.
Oh, yeah.
Twice.
But they do bond in the end. Patrick and Isaac.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're friends now.
So they are friends, and Cherie's happy with that, and Denise is happy. But Jack isn't happy because he saw him drinking. He wasn't happy because he's a teacher, but he's now traded in his job that he only got a few weeks ago, which was full time, to do part-time work at
Walford Primary,
which is really that doesn't make any sense.
Midterm, in the middle of a school year.
Why did the writers do that? Why don't they just have? He was only introduced a few weeks ago. Just have him go to Walford High.
Yeah, just starting there right at the beginning.
So it's just weird. But obviously Jack's upset now because
he doesn't want
he'd be teaching Amy and Ricky.
Look after his kids, yes. I mean, there'll be an interesting story, actually, if Jack was to kind of candidly talk to Tiff, maybe, in a week's or so's time, saying, I don't like Isaac teaching my kids. And again, Keegan might take that the wrong way because of his colour. Jack, is quite innocent with it because he thinks it's his drinking that's the problem.
And Jack's dad was a racist.
Jack's dad was a racist. He was a lot of ists.
Before he was a comedy character.
Yeah.
he was racist.
Well, before he became lovable.
Yeah.
He got together with Dot and we loved him.
Yeah, that could be something that he could like throw in Tiff's face as well.
Because Jack is really close with Tiff as well, isn't he? And he's, Keegan's already had that falling out because Tiff kind of prioritised Whitney over his story or his concerns about, being singled out. So if Tiff again started taking sides with Jack over Isaac, that could cause a split between Keegan and
Could do. I mean, I was
Tiff.
hoping to be more interested and invested in Isaac because I really loved Cherie, or I loved Cherie when she was first into it. And I was quite interested in this weird secret of hers. The secret was what we all thought it was, so that was a bit flat. And then I was like, oh no, Isaac, teacher, professional, could be quite interesting. But the secret was that he's Patrick's son, which we all guessed as well. So it's all been a bit like,
yes,
we've guessed all of this, and now he's just a bit rubbish.
I must admit, I had completely forgotten that he's Patrick's son. I'd completely forgotten about that.
That's why Patrick wants his approval.
Yes, it makes total sense now.
So it's all a bit like we've guessed all this. So there's been no real surprises, and of course he's male, he's successful, so he's going to have many a bit
flaws.
Dark.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had high hopes for Isaac, but he's been a bit flat for me.
I mean, I think he's got a few good stories now relating to Linda, because obviously we're only halfway through the week.
Oh yeah, of course.
So
I
think there's more coming with.
That's right.
Isaac.
It's just been poorly paced. Like some of these storylines have been really quickly paced, and then the Patrick one seems to just kind of be forgotten, and then every now and then they bring it back up. Yeah. And then it's forgotten again. So it's just a pacing issue, but hopefully it gets better.
I mean, now you reminded me about him being Patrick's son. It makes me like Isaac's story, and I agree with you. The pacing may be a bit flat, but I think the way they're going with it. I mean, we do complain that a lot of these story arcs are going at breakneck speed. So perhaps we should be grateful that this one isn't.
That's not the problem that it's long term. It's just that it goes weeks without seeing them.
It'd be more now, double the weeks.
I know, especially with the actors who are over 70 will be off for ages.
Oh yeah.
So Patrick's
Patrick's story.
He'll be in Trinidad, stuck for like 8 months
with the boing.
Right, so we got Sharon, finally, some aftermath, a month later, but it's fine.
All off screen, but there was aftermath.
No, not all of it was off screen, because her crying over the coffin was on screen.
Oh, that was amazing, actually. That was really good, and it really showed Letitia Dean what she can do.
It was very similar to the Mel and Hunter's coffin things. So, there were a bit of a rivalry there between these two blondes. Their rivalry continues into death.
Yeah, I thought
who can outdo each, but it was a very good scene.
I think there was. I felt it was deliberate that they made the scene very similar to when she was saying goodbye to Hunter. When Mel was saying goodbye to Hunter,
it was filmed in very similar.
And
angles,
and very similar words were used. Like she said, go follow the light and go
to your dad.
Go to your dad,
Steve as well.
Yeah. So it was very similar words, and I think that was a deliberate attempt by the writers and the production to do that, which was interesting. It just goes to show that really Mel and Sharon, if they just worked out their differences, they were very similar people.
They were, because they always had fights, but they always had bitchy friendship as well. It just ended poorly. But, she registered Caden as Cade, we believe. We didn't see the register of the birth.
No.
And I was moaning about that we kept seeing things off screen. But someone said maybe she's not called him Caden. There'll be like a reveal at some point. But she's just very detached from him, isn't she? And he cries at night. Denny never did.
Yeah, exactly. She's finding so many faults in Caden now. She's like, everything is wrong. And she's comparatively saying that, he isn't what Dennis was at this point in their lives. And so she's palming Caden off again and again and again, notably to Karen.
Yeah, or Kathy, if she's around.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But Kathy's less soft about it. Like,
no,
Karen's
she's noticing that
that
Sharon needs to say, you look after Caden, he's your kid. Where Karen's I think she's being really shown quite poorly, actually. Like, the way she just walks around and she pretends like Dennis hasn't died, or like she's all like happy and funny and just talking about Caden or talking about Keanu in front of Sharon. And she's being really like unsympathetic, I think. It's really weird how they've written that.
You're right. She's put her foot in it a few times as well by kind of mentioning, as you said, Keanu and Dennis, and it's been Sharon's kind of almost let it pass just because she's almost seen Karen as a free babysitter, and someone who seems to have more love to give Caden than what Sharon is willing to give.
Yeah, because Linda's like kind of using Caden as well as a way to like distract herself from drink. So she's looking after the baby. She's talking to Sharon a lot and trying to be a good friend to her. But something was kind of said that, again, Sharon took the way that it wasn't meant to be said. And she's now given the baby to Karen and Mitch to just look after in their 3-bed flat somehow.
Another one.
But
to
she
add.
didn't bring anything with him. It was just the baby.
Yeah.
And like a tiny little bag.
You know what to do. Here you go. There's the baby. Yeah, well, Sharon said that she had a conversation with Denise. Because
That
of
was
course,
it, yes.
Denise on the bench as well. That bench that Sharon seems to like to think on quite a lot. Arthur's bench. Yeah. Arthur's thinking bench. And she basically said that, Denise said, I gave up Raymond because it was the right thing to do. And that even though Kathy kept saying to Sharon, you'll do the right thing and you know how to look after a baby, just give it time. For Sharon, the right thing was to give up the child. And the best carer, or the next of kin, I suppose, was Karen.
Well, Karen's the most interested, didn't she? So.
But it was just the fact that she said that she can't be a good mother to Caden because she failed Dennis. And I mean, in a way, I wish that Ian had been there when it happened. I wish that when Sharon was giving the baby over to Karen, that Ian could have been, are you sure this is the right thing you want to do, Sharon? Are you sure? What are you doing? Calm down. And I wish Ian had heard the words from Sharon that is, I failed Dennis. Because that I think that is surely the one thing that could have broken Ian. And eventually he would have said, it was me. I failed Dennis. I wanted him to say it. I want him to say it.
There's still time. And I'm still blaming Phil.
I know you are. I think there's a lot of blame on that boat that night.
I blame Mel, actually.
Yeah, the spirit of Mel.
Because if Mel wasn't blackmailing her all those months ago,
yeah,
this wouldn't have happened.
Well, yes, I suppose.
I blame Michelle for leaving Sharon to go back to Australia.
Yes, in the lurch.
If Michelle was here, she'd sort her out.
But the original Michelle. As much as I love second Michelle.
I am shocked they haven't referenced Sharon on the phone to Michelle or Michelle sending a card or something yet. I wonder if they will for the funeral. Because they always reference Michelle sending things to funerals normally.
I would love a Susan Tully cameo.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but just a Skype call. Just have her on a Skype call. Because then she wouldn't even need to film it. They could do a one-off special while the coronavirus is on.
Oh, Letitia Dean and...
Yeah. The whole half-an-hour episode could be Letitia Dean, Sharon and Michelle talking to one another in a Skype call.
That would be good.
That would be amazing. That'd be a great episode.
I mean, the one thing I do hope comes from the lost filming schedule is that maybe we'll get a lot more episodes on set and limited cast. Yeah. And just lots of character and script. And that's one thing I hope maybe comes from this. Could be quite good.
It completely depends on when production reopens. A load of studios are closed and any live shows that are being filmed at the moment are doing it without an audience. So I think that there's going to be at least a month before they reopen the studios.
But even if they do set rather than external, just have the Bill house and you have a few episodes just all set in internal. The houses. Yeah, that'd be quite fun.
I mean, it would make sense also because if they filmed those, it would relate to the fact that people have been told to stay inside, self-isolate. So you could do, again, it would be really good to have bottle episodes, but it wouldn't need to necessarily be cheap. It would just be a whole episode filmed inside of a house. I mean, again, how good would it be if basically Ian revealed to Sharon that he basically ultimately had a hand at Dennis's death, but they couldn't go. They couldn't leave the house. So they would have to basically fight it out between them.
It'd be good for heightened drama because they could do the past 2 months and they could show Gray and Chantelle in the house. Gray would be getting really pent up and angry. So they could work it in.
He couldn't defend Whitney, so he was winding him up even more. Chantelle could carry on doing her call centre job at home because you could technically do that at home, I imagine. A call centre job.
I guess. But there's lots of things that could happen.
And it would work really well, like you say, because they're trapped inside of their own homes. There's no escape for them, like it would be in any other case in a soap, which would, as you said just now, heighten the drama. It'd be really fun and exciting. So in a funny way, let's hope that they're able to do a few internal episodes just to squeeze into the footage.
Right, so speaking of all that, we're going to go on to our I'm Not One to Gossip, where we've got... It's not it's not what we normally do at the end of episode because it's all a bit different at the moment. But we've got some comments from people and we've got some questions, so we'll go on to them.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So, Know Who Won the Week poll this week, because we've not technically had a complete week, but it will be back next week. So watch out for that on our Twitter and Instagram, details to follow. But we did ask you a question, which you in your hundreds answered. So thank you so much for your answers. I've chosen a few select few, but basically
Everyone's at home, so they can all answer.
I know, thank you. You had too much spare time on your hands. So we wanted your COVID-19 quarantine stories. Or more specifically, the question was, if you had to self-isolate with a character from EastEnders, past or present, who would it be and how would you pass your time together?
Past or present?
Any era, any time whatsoever. And as I said, thank you everyone who got in touch with us on our Twitter, our Instagram and our Facebook group. I posted on all three of those and you replied in your, seriously, hundreds.
You just said that, yeah.
It's exciting. It was exciting. My phone wouldn't stop pinging. In the middle of the night, I was waking to pings.
So who's the most popular then?
The most popular was either Mick Carter or Ben Mitchell.
Oh, Ben Mitchell, he'd be miserable. Oh, could you imagine 12 weeks of him?
Well,
Hyperactive energy from him.
To be fair,
no thanks.
A lot of people, Mick Carter and Ben Mitchell were probably the most popular because of the aspect of you being trapped at home with nothing else to do.
Yes.
Other than Netflix and chill, inverted
Kush
comma.
then.
I
Kush and Cat. That's who I'd be with.
Ooh, you'd have a threesome with Kush and Cat,
No,
would
I'm
you?
not talking about sex.
Oh, okay.
Just talking about for general fun.
What would you do with Kush and Cat?
Learn the taxi routes.
Yes. Oh God, she still needs to do that.
Was now's a better time than any.
I think I'd spend my time with Kathy.
Oh yeah, Kathy would be good.
I'd like to. She'd be
Very
a good,
motherly.
She'd be a good Samaritan, so she'd be able to calm us down if the news is desperate.
She's also a good laugh with her mate.
She likes a mate. She likes to have a G&T or a beer.
And you could talk about Peep Bill.
Of course.
Like slag him off.
Oh yeah, I'd slag the hell out of Pete Bill.
Have a bottle of wine with Kathy and slag off Peep Bill.
We could do our impression. I could ask her finally what was his special trick. What is the thing that he does every Christmas that we never see on screen? We may never know. But I'd ask Kathy. And of course, Kathy could bake and make all kinds of delicious treats.
And knit. She's got a lot of skills.
She can knit. She can knit me a jumper.
She can bake. She can cook.
Yeah. There you go. So Kathy Bill is number one. So why you guys didn't say Kathy Bill is beyond my belief. However, you said others. So here are some of them. Hold on to your hats because there's a few. Jennifer Alban on Facebook said, I'd spend the time with Pat and Peggy sitting at Pat's bar in the living room.
Oh yeah, past characters, of course.
She's got those optics. She's got loads of drink.
I think Pat might be a bit annoying actually after a few weeks.
The only thing that would annoy me about Pat is that she smokes.
Oh yeah.
And so you'd be in a room full of smoke because you won't be able to obviously go outside.
That's true.
I'd probably insist that she opened a window and kind of smoked outside the window.
I'd spend time with Jill Fowler because she'll be loads of fun.
Why Jill specifically?
Because she'll walk backwards, she'll eat a yoghurt sandwich, she'll have a cold cup of tea, all sorts.
She's having a great time in heaven right now.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
probably looking down at us right now and laughing, thinking, what, you guys are idiots. At Big Gay Adventure on Twitter said, it would have to be Callum. He'd be calm, rational, optimistic and would make you laugh. We'd binge Netflix documentaries and try out food recipes and we'd learn sign language.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a chef as well, isn't he? I forgot.
Oh yeah, I forget he could cook us, rustle us something nice.
He wasn't always the best though, wasn't he? But yeah, Callum would be all right, I guess. Yeah, okay. As long as Lola and Lexi aren't there.
Well, they'd be attached to Ben, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah, that's true. Ugh.
At RIP Melanie Owen said, I wish I could say Sharon as I'd love to share a bottle of Carver with her. Carver? That's a bit downgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, champagne.
Champagne. Chardonnay, dear. But she'd just be crying every 2 seconds at the moment due to her grief.
That selfish bitch.
Oh, it's true. Cindy Calloway on Facebook said, I'd like to sit down with Dot in her kitchen.
Oh God.
Dodgy kitchen table.
No, not Dot.
With a cuppa and a slice of Battenberg cake. I'd go for the Battenberg cake.
No, Dot will be going hysterical because she's hypochondriac and she'll be Bible. It'd be awful.
No?
No.
You
Next.
You wouldn't want to talk about history or of the square?
That's what Sonia's for.
That's true. The new Dot. Abby_Dot21 on Instagram said Bailey, probably because she is the smartest and could figure a few things out. She'd be good, wouldn't she? She'd find a way of getting bread.
And the Taylor house has loads of food, like stockpiled.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're all right.
They stockpiled before it was the fashion. At Miss JD said, obviously Queen Sharon. She'll have some good stories to pass the time, but I can find out everything of Grant and Phil Mitchell. I mean, I've got a few questions I'd like to ask about Grant and Phil Mitchell.
Well, yes.
Wink.
Apparently Phil's better in the sheets than Grant.
Was that Sharon Gate that wasn't?
I can't remember when, but she has hinted at it.
It was the recording, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
I believe the first time.
Maybe. But, so yeah, very interesting.
Poor Grant. Grant is all grunt and no stamina.
I still can't get the image of him bouncing up and down on that bar stool that one time in the classic episodes in his underwear.
Oh, yeah.
He was bouncing all over the place. Like, all of it.
Well,
It was very graphic.
Keanu's seen all of it too. Remember the day he was under the bed and that single
Phil.
tear came under his eye? At Loch Schlocklan says, Saeed Masood. I had the biggest crush on him back at the... So did I. I used to
With long
fancy
hair,
him.
yeah.
He's
not,
hot.
Not
he's,
Christian.
He's hot and Holby as well.
Although he's evil.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes him hotter. We'd just hang out, watch movies together. It would be the perfect way to pass the time.
Sure. Basically Netflix and chill.
Yeah, of course. A lot of these, to be fair, were just Netflix and chill.
Basically who people fancy.
Talking of which...
There's us who were like, Kathy, so we can talk to her.
Nice things, delicate things. Richard Gold on Facebook says, Peter Bill, the Ben Hardy version. Now, I pushed Richard. I said... What would you get up to?
Right.
His reply, I'd just say that's for me to know and for him to find out. And a winky face at the end.
Right. There's no further comment.
Curious though, he likes the Ben Hardy version.
And I
not
hate the
new...
Ben Hardy version. He's boring.
The newer one's just as hot.
Too tall.
He is the green. Oh. At least he would have endless sweet corn.
Peter would be annoying as well because he wants to go running all the time with loads of energy. He won't be able to sit down. Nah.
Yeah, he'd want to do some kind of personal training, and you'd be like, "No, we're meant to be self-isolating."
Yeah.
At Andre says, "Watch old Strictly with Kush."
What? Watch actual
Old episodes of
Davu dancing in
Well,
Strictly?
perhaps I would. You could watch Max and his snake hips.
Oh no, but I'd spend some time with Kush. Why not?
Gina Raquel 40. Well, you said him and Kat.
Yeah, Cat's gone now.
Gina Raquel 44 on Insta said Ben for the laughs and the eye candy and Patrick for the rum. I mean, you have to remember you need a bit of drink just to let the time go by.
Nah.
Well, even though the
Could
government
you
suggests
imagine
you shouldn't.
if, has anyone said Jags? No.
Not
Could
one.
you imagine?
We had a few Habiba and Ikras,
Ooh,
but
the
no
Forgotten
no Jacks.
Sisters.
In fact, none of the Panaser brothers. None of them.
Oh.
That's a shame. At Sabrina _Lou01XX on Instagram said, Lola, we can do our hair and makeup.
No.
I thought you liked that one.
You might as well have Chantelle or Whitney and Tiff over Lola if you're going to do that, because they're better. Or Stacey.
Yep. Here's a classic one. At always_morning said, I'd self-isolate with Angie because then I'd be in the Vic with Den and Sharon as well. We'd have lots of knees ups, karaoke nights and games of darts and constantly get bladdered on gin and tonics whilst having hilarious chats about the whole thing. So you just be like, ha ha ha, we're ill.
Den would put a downer on it all because he was a bit serious, wasn't he?
That's true. He'd want to be leaving all the time and kind of be like...
He can walk rolly.
He'd have itchy feet. Well, no, he can't because he's
You
in
can walk
isolation.
dogs.
True. At Real Nostalgia Pie said, Dennis Rickman Sr. without a doubt. Definitely one of my favourite characters, although I reckon Sharon would claw my eyes out.
Oh yeah, she wouldn't like that. I love the Dennis mention this week, by the way. This half week. She mentions Dennis, which is nice.
They should have brought him back. They should have had him behind her.
I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah. He could be dressed all in white and he could put his hand on her shoulder and be like, don't worry, Sharon. It'll all be okay.
I'm surprised that didn't happen, to be honest, at the state of it.
Probably because he looks so different now. He's got really long, shaggy hair, hasn't he?
Does he?
Have you not seen pictures of the actor who played Dennis Rickman?
Nigel. Is it Nigel Harmon?
Nigel Harmon, yeah.
I'll have to have a look in a minute.
You.
I will.
At Sammy J Champ 1, who is the wife of Ricky Champ,
Right.
she replied and said that she'd like to be with the bald highway brother. I wonder who she means.
Callum's got hair. Stuart, I don't know what Stuart would be like.
Well, of course she chose Stuart. It's her husband.
Yeah, she'd know.
Yes.
Her husband's Ricky Champ.
Ricky Champ, of course.
So it's interesting that she chose Stuart.
Oh, right.
They're very different.
Yeah, but it's character. They are, well, you don't know they're different.
2020 Stuart, not 2019 Stuart.
At Amanda Rose 1980 said, Lou Bill, I could find out everything about everyone. It would be nice to know more about the past characters and the past of the long-standing characters.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't choose
Yeah, I
me.
don't know if I'd like to live with her.
No, she'd be difficult to stay in house for 14 days.
She would not listen to... She would go, no, I'm going out.
And be
Screw
the first,
all you.
She'd be the first one out.
And she'd survive.
And she probably would.
Oh, yeah.
She's made of hardy stuff. Well, apart from when she did her final... That's what she'd do. She'd do her one last speech to everyone.
Oh, yeah, I'm off.
Yeah. Has her first last Guinness, and then she'll be gone. And that'll be the end of her. I mean, I haven't got time to say many more, but Bradley was mentioned as well.
Nope.
Pat, obviously, down
Yeah.
in G&T's. And again, another one for Queen Sharon. There was lots and lots and lots, but I wanted to end on this one. This one came quite quickly, like when I first posted it, and I laughed out loud when I heard it. So it's at RDWrites97, and he wrote, I'm happy to take Kush, Gary, Martin, or Mick. And to pass the time, I'm happy to take Kush, Gary, Martin, and Mick.
Who's Gary?
Gary Hobbs, I guess.
Gary Hobbs?
Oh, Gray. Gray, sorry. That's meant to be
Gray.
Gray. Blooming
That makes
auto
sense.
type. Yes, sorry. It's auto
So
spell
who?
changed
Mick,
it.
Gray, Kush, and who?
Martin.
Oh yeah, they're right.
And to kill the time, he'll take all 4 as well. That would be one hell of a video. Thank you everyone who got in touch and joined in with that question. Honestly, as they were coming in, I was reading them, I was enjoying them. There were so many, and it really put a smile on our faces. So thank you so much for sending them in. If you want to stay in touch with us, we're on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us at Walford Weekly, or you can search for us Walford Weekly Podcast on our Facebook group. You can also do that to find us on our YouTube channel, where we have original content, videos up 3 times a week.
There's a new one this week.
Yes, which is...
If you're a fan of classic, there's one on there. We're reviewing an old one from 88. If you like modern ones, we've reviewed Walford and Bloom recently.
And there's a video about 10 secrets you may or may not know about Tracy.
The barmaid.
Yes.
She's a barmaid.
That's fun. And also there's a kind of mini episode on there where I rant about the executive producers. So yeah, give it a try. Find us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please don't forget to subscribe and review. But you can find us on any other podcast app, any good podcast app, including Spotify and Podbean. And again, don't forget to subscribe to avoid missing out our episodes. As I say, we're not sure when we're releasing episodes because of the change of schedule
possibly
on the BBC.
Thursdays.
Possibly Thursdays, possibly we're sticking to Sunday. But if you follow us on social media, we'll post it as soon as we know.
Yeah. So next week we'll review the second half of this week, which is next week.
Exactly. So this week's second half next week. Stay safe, everyone. Please try to look after yourselves, and I hope you will enjoy VD Day, which Ben will now be celebrating.
Me and Kush and Kat.
What, VD Day?
Yeah.